Hello everyone, I am Magdala Ramirez and I'm very, very happy to be with you today. I come from the Maya Mexica tradition and here with me it is Sara Dimattina, and she is an amazing spiritual daughter. And we have been talking about what is the situation in this country, United States, as well as what is going on in this removing all the rights of being a woman in this country, this patriarchal system that it is very dark, the extremist religious people that it has been against the divine feminine, and what is going on everywhere in the world. So, mijita, tell me, what is in your heart?
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for having me be a part of the talk. I'm excited to share. And I don't know. I mean, I think like a lot of women, and I'm in the United States, and I'm born and raised in the United States, and I'm feeling, I think like so many women, we've been talking with the other sisters, there's been all these very intense emotions. I mean, I think first of all, just feeling that attack on women, on children, on women and children, on the sacredness of who we are has been so intense. And then also just feelings of anger and despair and feeling a little bit like, where do we go from here? But even I think now, today, as I've been thinking about it, I'm just feeling this, I don't know, fire in my belly. Like I really, in my heart, so much want women to understand, women and men, but especially women in the United States, the power that they have, and to understand that so much of what's been indoctrinated and taught to us from a very young age in our whole lives, it's a lie. And to understand what it means to take that power back in a good way. So that was a lot, I know. So much. There's so much in my heart in this moment.
And I understand. I mean, it's a big situation. Here is the thing. For such a long time, many generations, the patriarchal system has been enslaving human beings. In the way that it is being done, it is attacking women. Why? Because in this planet, everything comes from the feminine.
Yes.
And I want you to think about it. What is it and how do this going on? What is it inside of yourself about that balance about the male and female? Well, if you want to create something, first you imagine it. You create it inside of you. You want to do any art project or any situation. Everything starts by the world inside of you. And then you bring it into manifestation.
Yes.
So here we are having this situation when the patriarchal system was enforcing in the people to always look for the manifestation only, not where it's coming from. For such a long time, women has been given the power away to the outside world. Because that is what it is, the masculinization.
Yes.
You were not accepted if you talk about your feminine powers. You were not accepted if you feel, if you have emotions, if you exist as women and understand that there is a different world, very different of what it has been for the masculine way. The masculine way is very much just that, a manifestation of what it is inside. So what I see right now with all this commotion that it is going on, yes, the government thinks that they have power because you give them that power, because the system is inside of you, because the system that you believe in, it is just an idea. They thought in those extremist religious situations that it is right now, that they can just take that power away from you. You cannot decide what you want with your body, with yourself, with whom you want to marry. They want to regulate absolutely everything that it is about the feminine, removing all these rights and thinking that in that way the women would be just that, obeying whatever the masculine said again. And this is not the time. You must observe at all time that this one, the one that created you, it has been talking to you for a long, long, long time. Women, you are the leaders. The leaders taking your people into the new world. A higher culture of deep transparency. There is nothing to be afraid anymore. The system has no power over you unless you give them that power. You must realize where it is your power, and what it means when you use it for the highest good of everyone. No one can take your power away unless you let them. And yes, the situation is very, very hard at this time. There is so much of that commotion. And what it is in this country that it has been absolutely so patriarchal and creating so many wars and destruction, it is very much against the divine feminine. And the woman cannot be silenced no more. What do you feel about that, mijita?
Oh my gosh, so much of what you just said. I was thinking about, well, first of all, how true it is, how for so long, I know speaking personally, I thought that the power was on the outside. I mean, you know my story. I went to law school, for crying out loud. It was like, I thought that it was about, getting that power on the outside through laws and through change and that sort of thing. And also really in many ways seeking love, seeking belonging, seeking value and worth, because the system really, it's so dark, it's so patriarchal that is the belief for women, is that you're taught that, your worth is not, you're not as worth, don't have as much worth as men do, and that to find worth and acceptance is to act as a man in this world. And also that your power comes from that outside and from that manifestation, which is a big fat lie. And I remember even when I first joined the school, I remember you telling this, sharing some of these teachings, and there was this, I remember thinking at that time, like, how is it possible the system is inside me? I remember that it was just such this foreign idea that I even had the power to shift that within myself. And what I've come to learn is how each of those beliefs, I was giving my power away to so many of those beliefs over and over and over again that were false. And that each time I was able to see in myself where it was a lie and to not give that power, I reclaimed it. And I think we're at this really, really important point where we're seeing really laid bare where the hearts are of the people, and we're seeing there is a transparency in a way right now, and it's showing us exactly how much power has been given over to a very, very extreme, fanatical, very dark, patriarchal group of people who really want women to believe that they are the ones that have the power and that women are powerless. And that is false. That is so false. Oh my goodness. The more that I have learned about I feel like at the root of so much of it is when you were talking about this idea of obey. And I know in myself, it's kind of frightening how deep that has gone in the many ways that's shaped my way of thinking, in that, even this idea of feeling helpless or feeling like, oh, it's futile, this can't be changed, or it will always be the way it is. All of those beliefs are really wrapped around this idea of you need to obey this, and that is a lie. And that is a big fat lie. And I think we're at this point where you've said so many times, you can see the health of a community, of a culture, of a people based on how they treat their women, how they treat the land. And we can see in the United States where we're standing and how much it's really, this is the time. This is where it's time for us to say no more to these lies and to be able to stand together and say, I don't think so. This isn't the world I want to co-create, because we are creators. And I for one am ready to create something beautiful and to let this very, very, very old, dark idea to fall.
Yeah.
And that starts within me, really.
Yeah, and it starts with you, and it starts with me. And we weave it. Here comes the new world. And the new world, it is about that transparency, no more lies.
Yes.
It is about understanding that you have a choice, that it is you the one that decide where you want to go in this beautiful tree of life of yours. What is your next creation? What is it? Yet, in order to get there, it needs to be removed all this programming that you receive from the patriarchal system, the obsessiveness about the outside world. Mm-hmm. That's where the masculinization resides.
Yes.
The system tells you how you're supposed to look. What is the perfect weight? What is the perfect color? What is it that it is your value as a woman? It has to do about money, status, with whom you're married. Change your last name. You are just a property of somebody else.
Yeah.
And the story continues. Of course, God is male. And it is a white guy, old, with a beard, sitting somewhere, judging you. And he hates women because he cursed them with their moon time. And people believe in that. Right. People believe that it is the image that they want about it. And God, the truth is that it is not male or female. It's both happening at the same time. And it is within yourself, as men and women everywhere in the world. And sexual preferences has nothing to do with it. All is happening within your own self. Yet when you find a wrong belief that it was imposed on you, you do present a truth, and that truth will destroy the lie. When I think about all these lies that they told you since you were growing up, and then you adapted, the one that hurts the most is this one that you thought that it was real. They told you that you were not perfect and that you needed to go in life looking for love. They never ever told you that you are love and that you have always been love. And that is truly a tragedy, because you come into this realm to experience love, not to be a beggar of love. The daughter and the sons of the Great Mother are not beggars of love. You recognize yourself as love because that's why you're here. So you create all these lies based on a programming that you needed to fake, that you needed to lie in order to receive just the illusion of love. Just to feel those grumbles and thinking that that was the only thing. And if you were not receiving more love because it was something wrong in you, that was the programming that has been stopping human being for a very, very long, long time. And it's a big, big, big fat lie.
Yes.
Because as divine beings, you do have the right of choice. You do understand yourself as love, and through that, you do relate with all your relations with truth. Otherwise, the love will be distorted. And that is the perpetuation of the patriarchal system. So here comes the patriarchal system, the most radical sinister of the countries that they have been doing this, like it is happening in United States. Denying even the concept of women. You know that the word women or she is not even in the Constitution?
Yeah.
It is really horrible to even understand this. And yes, you're right. You want to see how the land is. Look at the women. Do they are happy? Do they feel okay? That these situations that it is taking place, do you think it is only about abortion or is about denying your choice of what do you really want? And of course, these situations about pregnancy is denying even that, well, these women got pregnant all by themselves.
Right.
Men has nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
So there is no laws to actually apply to men in this kind of situations.
Right.
Even in times of rapes and incest, there is no laws for the men.
Yep.
Only about women. Perpetuating this property thing. How it is that drama happening inside of you? How much of that in your mind you think that you need to follow it because it is not customary for the women to say, no, I don't think so.
Exactly.
What do you feel, Mijita, about this?
Oh my gosh, so much of this. Well, I was just remembering something you told us recently about it's time to break the rules. And that, I think, is where we're standing. You know, anyone who is on a path of enlightening themselves, enlightening their personality, needs to break the rules. And I think that's where we are in this country, where we're being presented with a truth, which is that women have been under attack in this country since its founding. And children, women and children, the sacredness has been under attack since its very founding. And I think so much of it does go to that big lie that we were told, which was that, or that I was told, and that many raised in this culture were told, which is that you need to go finding that love. Like when you were talking about that beggar of love, and that you're not perfect, and that, you know, at the root of that is so much woundedness, because it's this idea that you, at least I think for many women, can relate to this feeling of it's never enough, and looking, I know for my own self in life, for a very long time, looking for that purpose on that outside, looking for that sensation of belonging, looking for that love through relations, through whether it be a spouse or, you know, always looking for being the, you know, the idea of what a mother should be, or a sister or wife, or all of those things. And it's all built on lies. And I think once you can understand that and speak truth first and foremost to yourself about what it is that in yourself, inside yourself, there is a part of you that knows how to do this, and that is love, that you are love, that you can be autosufficient of love. That changes everything. I know for myself that changed everything. And then I started to understand that none of those decisions make sense anymore. Those faces that, we put on to be accepted or to seek that love and approval, it's just not necessary, because when you understand that you are love, you no longer need to be a part of a lie. And I think many women are feeling all of these changes that, that this huge shift that you've talked about, this new beginning. And I think if you can find in yourself, what is that truth? And speak that truth to yourself and to those that you love, it will change everything. I think that's a big one. And then the other thing I was thinking of when you were talking about the men, and how so much of this is all directed toward the women, as though the men just have no part in this. And I saw this, I read something this weekend that was so powerful, and it was saying how the penalty for having an abortion due to rape was steeper than the penalty to actually raping someone. And that is just so horrific. And it shows you the values of this patriarchy and how absolutely devalued women are. And it's just, it needs to go. It's the time.
Yeah.
Mijita,
I went to Cuba, and we have this big meeting in Mexico, Yucatan, with the elders. Uh-huh. And the men were saying, you need to give birth more to men. We are very, very few.
Yes.
And I told them, hey, we're working on it. I'm here in the United States, and I work with all the races. And overcoming the racism and overcoming so many things to bring us sisterhood. Of course, it has been heavy.
Yes, very.
But what is it that we are giving birth as divine feminine to the divine masculine? This co-holding hands means being able to stand up in your truth as women.
Yes.
The men are not your enemy.
No,
they just been
not.
Lie. Most of the women, they learn to lie to the men, manipulate and control in a different way to the masculine that he has no idea at this point. What is that divine feminine? So they can find it within themselves and become that divine masculine. As divine feminine, yes, you're holding hands with your divine masculine. But what is it that women for such a long time, that they have been silenced in so many cultures everywhere in the world, that they didn't say anything to the men?
Yes.
The mothers didn't taught the men how to transmute. So they thought that women were the transmutators and women adopt that paper. And of course, they got hurt like it is happening right now. The situation is very heavy right now in the world because the doors are very open, and yet you are under attack as men and women, both. Because
yes.
The men are hungry to know the truth too. The men are longing for that divine feminine, as the divine feminine is longing for that man. The men needs to be educated by their mothers and educate them well. And the women needs to be standing up and said, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to manipulate you anymore. I'm not going to say just yes for whatever you want. I'm not afraid because you recognize yourself as love. I'm not afraid to use my power as woman. I'm not afraid to understand that depends on me. The whole community depends on me, my family. This old saying about if mama is not happy, nobody's happy is very, very true.
Mm-hmm.
The man can go and that's fine, but if the woman gets hurt, everybody gets hurt. The children get hurt. Look how the schools are. Everything has to do with deduction mind, denying completely the power of the feminine. The other side of the equation. That other side that it is the most powerful thing because that is where the true creation is taking place just before the manifestation. What do you feel about that, mijita?
Oh my goodness. I think that is so true. I think men are hungry for that. Absolutely. I mean, you know, most men came from a mother who was wounded, and I think they are just as hungry for this as women are to step forward in their truth. I think that it's time that we bring that transparency in all of our relations, because you're absolutely right. I mean, it's not really even about, you know, it's funny because I was even thinking about what we were just talking about. And at the end of the day, really my worth isn't dependent upon any of this, any of these laws, any of that. It is inherent within me. And I think that really as much as we do want to see those laws and those things change on the outside, it begins on that inside. And then that's where we're going to give birth to something new and beautiful. And absolutely it has to do with women stepping forward. And I think that is, you know, when you talk about the elders that were asking, okay, where are these true men? It is the women who can change their way of living and can break those rules and norms. And I think I can speak for myself that there was such a fear sometimes to do that because it does create ripples. But over and over again, it's funny because I've been surprised though that yes, sometimes it creates ripples and it can be challenging, but in other ways it has created just, I think it's, you know, if I'm thinking about with my husband or something, you know, these relationships, he has been hungry for that. It's a relief to him too. It shifts everything in a good way. So I think that's where the work is. I think it's about standing in our truth as women and understanding that, you know, a lot of these ways of being that we were taught by our mothers and grandmothers and that staying silent, that just can't stand anymore. It depends on us. And that it's not about waiting for that outside world to change to match us. We need to change our outside world to match our inside, what's in our hearts, and to bring that forward and to say, I don't think so. No more. This isn't how it's going to work. And to speak that truth. And that will shift everything.
And it is shifting everything. I was observing, really it's not the laws. Nobody can really rule you. So you need to understand this. But
exactly,
I was observing, you know, how those traumas of the mother is being passed on to their children. And that it is the work that you have, you know, dealing with the traumas of your mother and your own purpose in life too, until you say, okay, that link of pain is going to stop with me.
Yes.
Because I love my children so much and I'm going to deal with it. You know that in United States, only into the 1990s, the women was being raped by their own husbands.
Yes.
And it has no say.
It was totally legal. Yep.
It is totally legal for the men to abuse their wives. And the women went in deep silence. And of course that is being passed on. And you're talking about 20 years ago, very much.
Yeah, not that long.
So you see right now, where is the women? Well, you learn how to be a woman through your mothers. And that's your work to say enough is enough so you don't pass it on to your children.
Yes.
Yet there is no laws, nothing that can really rule that world inside of you.
Yeah.
You have the power. You have always been free. For such a long, long time, everything was about forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, right now, tell them. Tell them that they have a choice. And where it is that moment of choice. Tell them that they have always been free. That it is okay to use that freedom and that right of being human. It is your choice. And together we are weaving a very different story. I'm very thankful for you, mijita. And, oh my gosh, I have seen you in so many ways. And in the school too. We have a school online. I want you to get into the school. Yeah. Go to our website, magdalas.com. That is MAGDALAS.com. And sign up for the free newsletter that we are going to begin to do this very, very soon again. And download the app, Messages from the Great Mother.
Yes, it's amazing. And I want to say I'm so grateful for you. And the school is amazing. Absolutely incredible.
Oh, mijita, thank you. And also, we do have a non-profit organization called Sacred Woman. And you can find it in sacredwoman.org. If you want to donate, please do. And Sara, mijita, you have another announcement about cars and such.
Yes, we can now accept your car as a donation. You can donate your car to Sacred Woman. It's really, really easy. We're going to put the information on the website. In fact, I will do it today. And it's as simple as making a phone call, and it's all coordinated with a nonprofit that works with us, and all of the proceeds of the sale go to Sacred Woman. So that's an amazing way to support the work that we are doing with Sacred Woman.
Because of what it is, the situation, we do need your help.
Yeah, we do.
And thank you, everyone, for your work. Let us know, how are you? I love you very, very much. I am you. And Tlatzocomate, mijita chula, for being in here. Tlatzocomate. I am you.